Before Barney tears us all apart here, Ollie, I'll give you a good game for once.
Oh, shit.
All right, Gump, do you
No,
want to tell us?
no. It was. Well, one thing that I think sort of decided the game a little bit for me, we brought up in previous games and in previous weeks, how important a performance is from your bench. I think Penrith had that, especially from two players, Scott Sorensen and Spencer Leniu. The Roosters weren't offering too much. I feel like that had a bit of a significant impact on the game. Look, overall, Penrith once again continuously playing at a high level pretty much from 1 to 13. And as it has been for a lot of this season with the likes of your Taylor Mays and Isaac Tago's really putting their hand up, a lot of Penrith's attack was through their X factor on the edges. And in the end, I'd say that was the biggest thing that got them over the line against the Roosters. But overall, it does come down to quality as well. And it's not to say the Roosters aren't a quality team, and they've been in the best form they have been all season the past couple of weeks. And you brought up Daggy. The effort the Roosters did put in for about an hour of that game. So they're not a horrible team by any stretch, but I think Penrith still that one bit further than anyone else on the competition.
You know what it is? It's like when a bottom team plays a half-decent team and they compete for an hour and then get run over. This is a good team playing the best team and competing for an hour and get running over.
Yeah. Of course, it'll be telling next week, maybe for certain other teams on Penrith's level, but I think at the moment, and that's the biggest takeaway, it's just I'd say a really good team. James Tedesco, I think, once again had a really good performance. I think he's starting to come into his own now when it's coming to Origin time, but even he who, not this season, but consistently the past few years has been a top 3 player in the competition, is still able to have that performance, but his team was just outclassed at the end of the night.
I was watching the game with a few fellas, and sort of after about 60 minutes, and then again at the end of the game, we sort of discussed it and thought the Roosters didn't play badly. No. I didn't think. I think the Roosters probably beat nearly anybody else in the comp on Saturday night. They probably broke as many tackles as Penrith. They didn't miss as many tackles as Penrith. They played all right. Again, it was just the way that Penrith just don't have a bad player on the field. They all do their job. And the Roosters, I thought, were quite good. I thought Angus Crichton was probably one of his better games getting to form. Probably their only player that I thought was a bit down maybe was Manu on previous efforts that sort of he'd been putting in. Joseph Suaalii, if we didn't already know, he's a star.
He's a star.
Like he bringing the ball out. How hard was he running? And he's like,
he's a star. But honestly, when Michael Ennis said he should be in the Origin team, I wanted to go jump through the screen and knock him out. Like,
I don't even listen to what Ennis said.
Did he emphasize the O's?
Like he was
majestical.
Really
it's his favorite. It's not a fucking word.
No, it's not majestic.
He uses it every week. Oh, majestical 5'8" Luai. Anyway. Yeah, I'm just writing my brace down now.
It's the same as you wax lyrical about Penrith every week. Luai was really good. And even like Penrith win by 30 and Nathan Cleary just has our game. Like it wasn't, he wasn't bad.
Isn't it funny? Nathan Cleary's just had a season.
Yeah. in terms of that. But look, Isaiah Yeo again, look, at the moment, he's probably the best player in the comp, Isaiah Yeo. He broke the game open with the ball he threw to Sorensen for the try and just gives them so much time to do what they want to do. And he doesn't really look that quick, but his leg speed in the middle is what gets him. He a couple of little quick steps and gets to the outside shoulder of that A defender, and they're cooked. So. I don't know. You can't say too much more, but the Roosters weren't that bad. Like they were actually, they probably didn't deserve to get beat by 30 points.
Yeah, that sums it up really well. Go on, David. He
does all that with the ball and then makes 40 odd tackles every week as well. The bloke's a machine. You mentioned pretty much a lot of what anyone would say about this game. There was 60 minutes where it was back and forth. They stretched each other at times, but there was some pretty good cover defense in the first hour of the game that stopped a lot of points. It could have been probably somewhere around 20 points each going into half time, but what was it, 6-0 or something like that? It wasn't much.
Yeah.
the tough grind. I know you mentioned Tedesco and his form's good, but to me, he holds onto the ball too often. Realistically, for me, he needs to be running through the centres, and if he's not doing it, he needs to be giving somebody else the opportunity to do it.
He does get pinged in the corner
corners.
so often, doesn't he?
of times.
All the time. All the time,
Um,
especially late in the tackle count.
He's probably getting. You're right. He's getting caught with the ball too much.
Yeah.
Either let it go to your winger or duck back inside, and give him some space to run down a short side or set up a different play rather than floating into that corner, and then you're stuck in the corner. And it makes it very hard to set up attacking plays out of a corner. What do you say? There's Oh, actually, the lead was 18-0 at halftime, wasn't it? Because they scored fucking bang, 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 three tries straight away.
Appy had the
It was
the free
Yo
try
had the ball on the string with the 2 tries, and then Appy just darted out of dummy half.
Which they set up beautifully. Like they had Cleary sitting
they
there.
had Kiri, Luai, and Yo all floating towards that side of the field.
I was waiting for the field goal, and Appy just said, "Thank you very much."
Yeah. Critter jumps over the top of everyone and runs 80 meters or 90 meters to score for a couple of minutes into the second half, and it was game over. The Roosters didn't look like they were going to come back. They didn't look like they were going to get blown off the field, but at the end of the game, they probably did. The Butcher and CR Takiaho were probably the best forwards for the Roosters, but their forwards just got outplayed. Their constant grind that Penrith play through the middle. If you're not up for it for 80 minutes, you'll lose it in the last 20, which happened here. As I said, Teddy gets in the way a little bit, but Kiri and Crichton were the Roosters' really only guys that looked like they were going to break apart the field for the Roosters. Crichton probably had one of his better games, I think, for the season, and Kiri was pretty good, especially with his kicking game, and probably kept it closer than it could have been. The Panthers centers were fantastic. They were causing threats all over the place. Tago seems to, if he's not improving, he's definitely not getting worse, but he causes all sorts of headaches for the defensive lines. It also helps when you've got one of the biggest blokes in the game next to you and Luai buzzing around in the same sort of area. So that left-hand side in attack just causes no end of problems for everyone. I can't see it being shut down either, because you can play short to kick out, you can play out the back to Luai, you can hit Targo on a lead run or go to May with the cutout ball. There's just so many options on that left-hand side of the field. Fisher Harris had his best game of the year, I thought, and the halves were great. But
Luai's put 2 together now.
He
2 really, really good games of football together.
My man of the match.
He was sensational again. What I'm going to add to what you've said, not a lot, really, except people always talk about how players go to Melbourne and get better, but Scott Sorensen's a genuine threat off the bench. He was a fella at Cronulla. How
I thought he wasn't bad at the back end there for Cronulla. I was actually pretty upset because I'm pretty sure he announced his retirement and then came out of retirement to play with Panthers. So
he's loving life now.
What a second!
How hard does Spencer Leniu run?
Yeah, no, he's a weapon.
Is there a middle forward that runs harder than him? Every carry too.
Probably
There's
not.
no
Terrell May. What about his first?
How good was he?
He
to
was
start?
tremendous.
Oh,
he'd be starting by the end of the year for them.
Tree trunks for legs, that bloke.
Yeah.
His go forward was.
Do you know maybe
fantastic.
much to him, Gumpy?
Yeah, 2010 coached Terrell and thought he'd make it before this. I really rated him as a kid.
What a first touch, and what he had
Three
impact every
mates,
time he touched the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrell.
A handful.
He'd be a loose cannon. He's tough. He'll be good. They've re-signed him for 3 years, so they've obviously got him in their plans.
Yeah, and he saw 20 minutes of him, but it was impressive.
So, I don't know that he offers you less than Lindsay Collins.
Lindsay Collins has gone off a cliff. He's gone from the Queensland prop to off a cliff. I think he's offering you as much as the other blokes, your Fletcher Bakers and all that they're playing. Takiaho at lock was okay. It's still mind-numbing that he won't be in the comp next year because he's as good a forward as they've got, especially if Jared aging. But if Terrell's the future, then that's something. It's pretty, we're not going to say much more about this apart from I genuinely believe on this performance, Roosters are sort of a fourth fourth or fifth team, and they got blown off a park by the best team. It's it. Roosters would have beaten. I agree. Roosters would have beaten everyone bar maybe Brisbane and the Cowboys this week.
Cowboys, yeah.
And I think that's the top four. I think that's the top four. The more I think about it, so I've been wrong before, but you mentioned 3 points, Luai, Barn. Where are we going next?
Cleary just on the back of his kicking game, and then I had one of three actually. I had Yo, Appy, or James Fisher-Harris because I thought they were extremely good. So.
I want to, I know it's weird. Cleary probably deserves to, but he wasn't like the Cleary. But
that's fine.
But no, leave it with that. Go Appy one, I think.